Hello everypony, Prince Algona of Aquilonia here, and I bring you more creepypasta stuff to make your Black Friday even blacker. With creepypastas being so big, it's little wonder that even with the list ballooning to 20 stories instead of 10, that I would miss some fantastic stories deserving of some more praise. Here's 5 more underrated creepypastas to check out. Number 5. This one is totally cheating, but if I didn't do it like this, number 5 would fill up the whole list. So, they are The Portraits, Who's in My Bed, Who Was Phone, and A Mother's Call. Instead of taking these 4 micropastas as individual entries, I decided to combine them. What I love about all these are just how they're able to create such fright in a minimal amount of space. The Portraits reminds me of the old Bram Stoker story, The Judge, except being perhaps even more visceral in a much shorter amount of space. While The Judge is clearly fantasy, the scares from this one come from it being similar, but much, much more real. Who's in My Bed is a great surprise that leaves you questioning reality. Who Was Phone isn't really even underrated, but I'm including it just because I love it. The way the original is written is downright hilarious. But when you really stop and think about it, it hits you like a ton of bricks. There's a reason this has hit meme status. And A Mother's Call is maybe the best and scariest creepypasta I've ever read. It's a perfect play on every parent's worst nightmare when it comes to an intruder in the house. Number 4. Carmen Winstead. They pushed her. She was pushed. She was murdered, and they're liars. This one actually predates Creepypastas proper by a few months. I remember getting this as a chainmail back in 2005 or early 2006, while The Rake, generally considered the original creepypasta, didn't come out until later in 2006. As such, most people call this an urban legend. But by everything other than name, it's a creepypasta. Early creepypastas were written in that urban legend friend of a friend tale style. In fact, the angel statue is a retelling of the earlier clown statue urban legend. It was distributed across the internet first as a chainmail and then on social networking in true copypasta fashion, and it's an internet horror story meant to shock readers. So to me, it's a creepypasta, and possibly one of the first. For those that don't know, Carmen Winstead was supposed to be a girl that moved to a town in Indiana. She was a shy girl who was picked on relentlessly by the popular kids. One day, during a fire drill, she happened to be standing near an open manhole cover in the parking lot when some of the kids pushed her in. They just expected to scare her or maybe rough her up a little bit, but she fell in head first instead of feet first, snapping her neck on one of the upper rungs of the ladder while tearing her face off, bouncing off the rest. They didn't think anything of it when she didn't come up when the all clear was given and went back inside. When she was later discovered, they were questioned about it but lied their way out of it. Sounds kind of like one of the stories that made the original list, Liars. One of the kids later started to hear a voice coming through the shower, which scared them. They went missing and were later found in the sewer, neck snapped and face ripped clean off. One by one, the other kids started suffering the same fate. It is said that Carmen's spirit couldn't rest with just those that hurt her. Like Sadako / Samara from The Ring, She desires to have her story spread, to have the truth be known. And if you don't spread the tale with some sort of affirmation as to its truth, you will anger her and she'll come for you, either pulling you into the shower drain or toilet before ripping your face off, breaking your neck, and leaving you in the sewer. This one speaks to me as a bullying victim and as a Hoosier. I'll admit that I didn't really believe the story even back then, but I still spread it around anyway because I took no chances. Because I am superstitious. I do believe in the paranormal, and it felt very plausible to me. P.S. If this all seems familiar to you, even if you haven't read the story before, it probably should. The obvious parallel is to The Ring, of course, but there's also elements of the Japanese urban legends Hanako-san, the spirit of a girl that lives in the third stall of women's bathrooms that can kill you by pulling you into the toilet, and Teke Teke, the spirit of a bullied and easily frightened girl killed by a train in a prank gone wrong, who now seeks vengeance by dragging her severed body around on her hands and elbows, using a big-ass fucking scythe to cut unsuspecting victims in half, who haunts Japanese train stations. There's also obvious parallels to Smile Dog, too, which makes me think Smile Dog may have been influenced by Carmen. Number 3. The strangest security tape I have ever seen. The story of a convenience store clerk missing motor oil and a co-worker named Jeremy who may be a ghost with the ability to manipulate time. This one is just a total mindfuck, and I love it. I can't give too much away. You just have to read this one to really get its brilliance. Number 2. Autopilot. I wish I had known about this one before. When I first wrote up this script, I had just finished reading the story a few days prior. But Jesus, did this one wreck me. We all have our routines, safe, comfortable patterns of daily activities. These routines get us through our days and order our lives. But at the same time, they very easily become mechanical, subconscious acts that we do without much attention or thought. It takes some kind of break to make us think about them again. Parents have their routines too. Grab the phone, drop the kid off at school or daycare, go to work, pick them up, come home. That's a pretty common parental routine. But what if something throws that routine off? I may have already said too much, but believe me when I say you need, look in my eyes here, you need to read this. This one is very real. Not that it happened to the author specifically, but stuff like this happens to actual people all the time. You see headlines about it a few times a year. And what really makes the punch to the gut ending absolutely soul-shattering is the fact that it is so real. This one is another one that made me cry. And number 1, An Egg. Andy Weir's masterpiece. This one is less of a creepypasta than it is a really interesting philosophical thought experiment. In this story, a man who dies in an accident gets to talk with God. What he learns brings new meaning to the term we are all God's children. Another one I don't want to give away too much of. This one was originally going to be number 3 on the main list. It missed the cut because I just plain forgot about it. And by the time I recorded the video, I had too many other good stories to feel right removing one. I hope you enjoyed this little trip through the land of the creep. And believe me, there's going to be more Grimdark and Creepypasta videos to come. Until next time, Bye.